嘿，你好吗？
You know what I'm really hope the next Halloween Ends has, and I think it's to save the franchise for me, is we see Michael's cock.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You know, like you expect them to like take the mask off, but he actually takes his jumpsuit off.
Oh no.
And it's just hanging there.
That's the twist, is that Lori hasn't really been trying to kill him. She's just been trying to get him like horribly maimed so that she can like have her way with him.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
So he's like defenseless.
Lori's the villain. Michael's like, oh God, please.
Little do we know that night in 1978 Halloween for her was the most erotic night of her life.
That sounds like a Cronenberg movie. Something so traumatic happened to her, her brain sexualized it. And now she's after that thrill again.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking Crash or some shit like that.
Reminds me of Titan.
Yeah, kinda.
Oh, that car crash. She'd be fetishizing it.
Michael's asexual though. 100%.
Oh God.
That guy's never gotten an erection.
If he has fucked anything, he's probably fucked like a dog. He fucks and eats dogs.
It's scarier because, like, imagine like like for us, like a serial killer does something, and you're like, okay, it makes sense because he had a boner while like killing someone. But Michael doesn't. That's what makes him scary.
Uh-oh. Huh? He's not a sexual being, and that's horrifying to us.
That's horrifying. Now I'm just imagining Michael with like in his room with like an asexual flag on the wall.
Oh God. That's all he wanted in that room. That's why he was staring out that window.
Yeah.
He just thinking about having an asexual flag, but he doesn't know how Amazon works.
He doesn't know how Amazon works. And he's been trying to understand Reddit.
Well, the reason I wanted to talk about Halloween, you know, was because there have been a lot of rumors swirling around in the Halloween community about what this next Halloween movie is going to be. Halloween Ends, I'm talking about specifically. And how it's rumored that COVID will play a part in the plot of the film in some way, whether directly or indirectly, if it's metaphorical or literal, is what I'm trying to say.
You know what'd be so fucking stupid? Is they all wear Michael Myers masks instead of face masks.
Why would they do that, though?
I mean, why would they chase around a mentally ill man in the last movie for 30 minutes?
When it clearly looks nothing like Michael Myers.
Logic is thrown out of the window. This is the Halloween franchise you're talking about.
It's so weird that a whole town can be obsessed with a guy and have no idea what he actually looks like.
Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, Michael Myers would be iconic in Haddonfield.
Oh, yeah. His like, mugshot, when it got booked, would be everywhere. I'm sure anyone in that town has probably seen it 1,000 times.
And everyone would probably be, like, terrified, and that's, like, a local, like, legend, and it'd be a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, this bumbling fool that can barely make out words. Yeah.
Let's all lynch him.
That's the guy who killed, like, 6 teenagers on Halloween night.
The Halloween, he's, like, a 6-foot guy, like, kind of built guy. Okay, let's kill this guy that looks like the Penguin.
Yeah,
and throw him out of a building.
I love how like that's like the plan. I'm just imagining all of them, like the townspeople, just like, yeah, so we're gonna go up there, we're gonna get this guy, we're gonna pin him down, we're gonna beat the shit out of him with crowbars, and we're gonna throw him out the window.
Yes.
Sound good? All right, yep.
Sounds good.
Let's go. Evil dies tonight. All right, guys.
I saw a deleted scene from that whole hospital sequence, where it was like Lori looking at all of the people freaking out and like running around looking for that guy, and she's like, "Oh, this is Michael's masterpiece," and it's like,
fuck
that's
you.
so cringy.
That's something out of like a Lars von Trier movie.
Yeah, it's a rough.
Jack is like narrating over Michael, and he's like, "The way he causes chaos is archaic and beautiful, unlike anything we've ever seen before in this world. Only can be done through the power of taking one's life and the fear it instills." And then cut to some like classical music playing. Just Michael posing naked for some reason.
That's very accurate. And a slow motion sequence with classical music playing.
Yeah, slow motion sequence. Yeah, Michael Myers is in some like recreating some classical painting.
Oh god.
I'd watch a Halloween movie directed by Lars von Trier.
Is there a classical painting of like a woman having sex with a man?
I'm pretty sure that's most classical paintings.
Well, you could just recreate one of that, but it's slow motion Lori like riding Michael, and he's on the ground, like bleeding out.
And then you have Loomis narrating in Von Trier fashion.
Oh
He's like,
no!
the fear attracts her to him. It's pure evil, but in her eyes,
it attracted me
pure
too.
elation.
Back in the day.
Back in my day, I was hooked on Michael. He's like a drug to me.
I pretended like I wanted to kill him, but really I wanted to unzip those overalls and see what was underneath.
Oh God! Wouldn't he? Wait, no, he would have talked to him when he was a little boy.
Well, maybe that's when the attraction
All right, we're
started.
ending it here. Okay.
Well, what I wanted to say was that was relating into this movie.
Okay.
Because, you know, people are horrified at the idea of, like, Halloween ends using, like, COVID as, like, part of its plot. And I've always said the idea of that, I don't have a problem with. However, based on how Halloween Kills went and how that was written, they would, like, horribly fuck it up or do it in a really ham-fisted way.
Yeah, it would be very in your face, I feel.
Right. And I was thinking while watching this, I was like, you know, this is a really good way to integrate that kind of COVID type storyline and do social commentary about it.
Yeah.
And also make like a compelling like story and a horror movie, no less, out of it. And of course, we're talking about The Sadness, which is our film of the week for this week.
And I will say that of all like the COVID movies to come out, or like I'll even include shows, like things that include COVID, I would say that movie Kimmy and this movie are the only two to do it well that I've seen.
Kimmy is an HBO movie?
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
It's that girl who played Catwoman, right?
Yeah.
It's
an awesome movie. I recommend it.
I have to watch that.
Yeah, it's like super short, super concise, just quick to the point. It's awesome.
Nice. It looked interesting to me because I like that actress, but like I wasn't sure if it was actually good. But now that you recommend it, I'll definitely watch it.
Really well done movie.
Oh, okay.
And it's like COVID, and it's like the first movie that I saw where it's like doesn't explain what's going on. You're just like, you see it and you're like, oh yeah, this is 2021. Like there's no like news report going, the virus is spreading, and stuff like that to let you know this is a COVID movie. You're like, okay, she's working from home. Okay, you look outside, people have masks. It's like, oh, okay.
Right. Also, it's like incidental. It's just so like, it's not like the main story.
It plays into the plot.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But it's not like it's not heavy-handed, I think. I think the situations they in wouldn't be in if it weren't for COVID. But it very plays into, because she's an agoraphobic. So So like, she doesn't like to leave the house and stuff like that. So on top of COVID, that's scary. But I mean, I could go on for a long time on why I like that movie, but let's talk about our other COVID movie, which is The Sadness, the new Shudder original. And I guess this one came out in 2021, but due to COVID, it got like a weird release. And I guess this is now like the new release, which came out like last week. The Sadness is a Taiwanese zombie film. Do you consider this a zombie movie?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
This movie for me feels like the first original zombie movie in a while. Since like One Cut of the Dead. I feel like we don't get a lot of original zombie movies anymore. And for me, I used to love zombies. Like mostly when I was in high school though. Yeah. Back when I thought anything was cool. But I thought it was just like really like cool idea, a lot of interesting stuff. But when you watch enough, you realize it's always the same ideas just getting refiltered. And that's why this was sort of a breath of fresh air. Not so much in the zombies themselves, but also I think how it's handled, like the brutality of it. Because you expect, it's like a given. It's a zombie movie, you're going to have gore. I did not expect this level of gore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was surprised how bloody it got and how much blood there was.
Yeah, this might be one of the goriest zombie movies I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I looked it up. All the effects were practical.
They didn't
use like any CG.
It looked all really, really good.
So another thing that I thought was weird, and I was noticing it throughout, this is directed by Rob Jabbaz, who is a Canadian filmmaker. And this was his first movie. So good job, Rob. You did a good job.
Is this that guy's first movie? Holy shit.
This is his first movie. He's done like short films, but this is his first feature length.
God damn.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is about like horror directors like debuts are always like really strong.
Robert Eggers and
Ari Aster.
Yeah, Ari Aster too. Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are just very passionate about the horror genre, so when they're like doing it the first time, they're like, we're gonna get it fucking right. But so he's a Canadian filmmaker making a Taiwanese movie. Really? Which I'll get into that once we get talking about the movie, because I think for me it made certain things a bit jarring. Mostly because I watch like a lot of Eastern movies, and this feels like a blend of like Eastern and Western, which is probably directly because you have a Canadian filmmaker writing and directing.
Right.
But essentially, The Sadness is about a couple in Taipei, and there is a virus going around. They don't say it's COVID, but it's basically COVID. But what's different, and this is where I teeter on whether or not it's technically a zombie movie or not, is that basically what the virus does is it connects the two parts of your brains of sex and violence. So it basically makes you like an uncontrollable sadist, which I think is a very interesting concept.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
It's kind of like Crazies meets a zombie movie.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually.
Because they're not like brainless zombies. Like they're semi-intelligent, but I would just say they're more like they're completely driven by just sexual desire. And we know that people can do very bad things when driven by that. Very bad things.
Very bad.
So we have our couple, they go to work and go their separate ways, and then the outbreak happens and they have to get to each other. And it's a very simple plot, but I think the subject matter is executed enough to like kind of carry the plot
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, that's what I like the most about it is that it's such a simple movie, but like
Yeah.
it's not like there's not enough going on plot wise. It's like because I think what really helps the movie is early on you get that emotional connection between our two characters, the boyfriend and girlfriend, and from there, once they get separated, that's what is kind of driving. That what drove the movie for me, at least, was hoping for them to get back together, hoping that they'd get to see each other again, and like all the other stuff along the way was great because it's like you could see the horrors of what's going on, and there's a lot of social commentary throughout it. It's like it was a really well executed script for sure.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, like a lot of zombie movies are just like, okay, here's your characters, they're all gonna die.
Right.
Where this, you don't really have a lot of like main characters, and they're all pretty likable. Like, especially like I think the beginning's really nice because they are really, at least for me, like really relatable. Like living with your girlfriend, and you know, like they wake up, it's all nice. They kind of get into like a little disagreement, but they don't like fight really.
Yeah.
You know, it's just your typical kind of everyday thing. He has a nice talk with the neighbor. So yeah, it's just like a really nice setup. And they're both likable.
Yeah,
and you kind of get to
really get the you really understand them as people just from that short scene that they're in, and yeah, like you said, their living together relationship is like very relatable and accurate to what I think a lot of people go through, which really helps show how like close they are and how much they love each other, and yeah,
because I feel like a lesser movie would have them like fight in the beginning, you know? Like she planned a vacation, but he has a job, and then they get separated. And the whole movie, he's like, "No, she's mad at me. Like I don't want her to be mad at me," and then die of zombies. And then, of course, when they get back together, he's like, "I'll cancel that job, and I'll go on vacation with you." You know, like they resolve the fight in the beginning.
And he has to talk with his sidekick in the middle of the movie where he's like, "You know what the last thing I said to her was?
Yeah.
I called her a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm a terrible human being."
I want a movie where the guy, before like the girlfriend gets separated, he says like actually like the worst thing ever. Like just something completely unredeemable.
Something that would ruin their relationship forever.
Yeah. He's like, "I can't believe I called her," and then it's just like 10 seconds of just beeps. And you never know what he says. That'd be awesome. And then the sidekick's like, "Oh my God." They have to part ways.
The sidekick is horrified. Yeah, like you expect the sidekick to stick with him throughout the movie.
Yeah.
But what he said was so bad, he just can't go along with him anymore. He's like, he's out of there for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, he's like, "No, I'm going my own way. I can't be with you.
I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry."
Yeah, but as we said, this movie it's basically COVID. There are people like, you know, wearing masks. They're talking about like lockdowns and stuff like that. But one thing that struck out to me, which is where I think the Western director comes into play, is how kind of everything mirrors very similar to what was going on in America around this time. How there's a presidential election, and it seems like half of the country is split on whether or not the virus is real or it was created by the president's opponent and stuff like that, which is very similar to America.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very odd in like a Taiwanese movie.
I was thinking that because I was like, this seems like shockingly accurate to the U.S. and I was wondering why. And now that you're just saying that it's a Canadian filmmaker doing a Taiwanese movie, that makes a lot of sense. And
then I was honestly thinking there, and I'm like, are us Americans so self-absorbed that I think this is about me?
Right?
I was having that moment, and I'm like, no. And then when I saw, yeah, he was Canadian, I was like, oh, okay, whew. All right. I'm not that self-absorbed. But I mean, honestly, I think what happens in America, basically from like 2020 to 2021, probably like the world knows and is somewhat, we're kind of the butt of the joke.
Mm-hmm.
We're like an example of like what not to do in these situations. So I wouldn't be surprised if even a Taiwanese filmmaker decided to use that as kind of like, because I mean, it really does show, and there's even scenes where like civilians will fight. Like, even though there's this giant overhanging problem of zombies murdering everyone, they're still fighting amongst each other over dumb political beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially people are like, this virus isn't real. Meanwhile, they're all locked down in a hospital because they just watched someone eat a man's face. So that
true.
Is definitely very American.
Mm-hmm.
But it never does it like bad. Like it's never too heavy with it.
Yeah, it's never too on the nose. And I think it helps that as well that the virus isn't like actually COVID. It's called like the Alvin virus, I think, in the movie. So it's like it's detached enough from reality. And obviously COVID doesn't turn people into zombies, so there's that.
Or
as well.
does it?
Yeah, maybe it does eventually. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah. I saw No, it's the vaccines that turn us into zombies.
Oh my god.
Oh my, they gave us the one too. But and then another thing, and this was my main interest in this film and why I wanted to watch it, is because, you know me, I like a good depravity now and then, I like the gore. I like bad things.
Mm-hmm.
I like challenging my brain. I like giving it challenging stimuli. And when I heard people were like, the early reviews were like, they're like, this movie is like fucking depraved.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, a zombie movie depraved. What? We're just gonna see a lot of gore? But no, this movie it was pretty sadistic.
Oh yeah,
in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Specifically, we need to just get it out of the way. This is the one I believe that stuck out to both of us. Is a woman gets her eye hole fucked.
Oof. Yeah.
Which I think is a direct reference to Serbian film. Because in Serbian film, he actually kills a guy by shoving his giant erect penis into his eye and fucking him to death.
Oh,
like,
wow.
He literally skull fucks the guy.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure this was kind of just the vibe this movie was giving off. I can see Rob Jabbaz being a big fan of the Serbian film. I actually, because I was like trying to like do research on him, because I was like, so is he Taiwanese? Does he like live there? Like, why is he doing this movie? Didn't get that answer. I think he just moved there at some point, and he lives there. But I found his portfolio. He does like digital art and like short films and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
He's an edgy guy.
Oh, okay.
I'll say that. Very nihilistic.
So he just likes that kind of stuff.
I think he's just an angsty guy.
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
Like he has stuff, it's like art that says just like, you're worthless and stuff like that. So,
oh my god.
Yeah. Which, I mean, hey, power to him, knowing that kind of about him, I can definitely see that in this work. And for me, I think all this stuff is great, and I think the scenes are handled really well.
Mm-hmm.
It might, sometimes I feel maybe a bit too much. Like, that's another thing with these depraved movies. Some of them try a bit too hard to be depraved.
Oh, okay.
And this, at certain points, kind of tips the scale. But I don't think it takes away, like, any artistic integrity of it. But you can definitely see, like, when they're making it, they're like, let's make something really fucked up.
So you're saying they're trying too hard with some of it, you think?
Some of it. not, but it's executed well enough that it doesn't come off as bad.
Right. Yeah.
Because like sometimes it's like really cringy, where they're like, oh, okay, and I mean it's usually, let's be honest, it's the rape scenes, and there was quite a bit in here.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
They never really show much.
No, yeah, thank God.
But that's another thing, is that the zombies, I guess, are also masochists as well. Because there's plenty of scenes of them like fucking each other and like hurting each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember one of them says at one point after like someone saves them from like getting like hurt, and he's like, why'd you make them stop? I was about to whatever, come. I don't remember.
No, he literally said, I was just about to blow my load.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I knew he didn't say come.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. He's like, what the hell, man? I'm trying to come here.
Relatable.
Relatable, yeah. I hate when people help me right when I'm about to come. No, yeah, and they were like bashing his balls in with a pipe. Too. And that's why the guy was like, oh, I gotta help this poor man.
I know. He got like fucking picked up and just rammed into a metal pole.
Yeah, rammed into a pole after they were like beating the shit out of him with baseball bats.
Yeah. And
he was like so like bloody, his like entire face was like swollen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was brutal.
So I wanna talk about some of the memorable gore here.
Okay.
And also what I like about this movie, and I love when zombie movies do this, is they get right into it. Like, I want to say 10 minutes in, we already got like zombie action.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that, because I hate when zombie movies are like expect you to be surprised when 40 minutes in a zombie shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this movie's called like fucking Zombie Hell 2. I know zombies are going to be in this. Don't give me 40 minutes of character development. But yeah, so like in the beginning, our main character's in a restaurant, like talking to his friend, and there's like old lady who's infected comes in and just takes the grease from the fryer and just pours it on the man's head.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and his face is like peeling off.
Yeah.
And she's like pulling it off of him too.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And one scene that I thought was like really effective was on the train. And it's like the typical, like everyone on the subways like has like their their headphones in, they're like staring down at their phone.
Mm-hmm.
No one's paying attention. And one dude just starts stabbing a guy. And like no one really notices, and then he goes and stabs another guy and a few people notice, and then like he's stabbing another guy, but like the way he's stabbing him is so brutal too.
Yeah it was very realistic, like the people's reactions to it and how it kind of slowly starts a panic.
And like he wasn't even going for kills either. He just kind of would stab someone in a gut and then like move on and stab someone else maybe in like the side or something. Like he was just stabbing to stab. And then that was like very similar, like more recently, like in Japan, there was actually something similar, like on Halloween. Some guy did that exact same thing on like one of the trains.
Mm-hmm.
He stabbed like 6 people. I think it was just like a pocket knife.
Wow. Oh,
yeah, and he was dressed as the Joker.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Love that.
That's the power of cinema.
Love that for us as a human race.
No, but, and I was thinking when that scene was going on, because it eventually gets crazy. Everyone is like infected and everyone's killing each other. And by the end, the train is just covered in blood. But you know what? That scene was a better version of when Leatherface gets on the bus in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the new one.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Because it's so many people locked in a tight space that's moving that they can't get out of, while a madman is going around killing everyone.
Right. And they do exactly what I mentioned in an episode where they all just rush him and pin him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
but
what
then by
they
that
should have
time it's
done to
too late because
Leatherface.
everyone else is infected.
Right, yeah.
And then one part that I thought was hilarious was there like a president does a news report, or not like a news report, but like an addressing the nation, call like, we have this under control, blah blah blah. And then like his right-hand man, I guess, is infected and like grabs the president and shoves a grenade in his mouth. And we get like a really comedic like Cronenberg head explosion.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I was like losing it at that part.
I wonder how they did that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably like a model head. It looks really good.
It did, yeah. I was thinking, because now that you mention, I'm thinking that they may have like filmed the actual guy, and then cut like right before the head explosion. I'm sure if you actually slowed it down, you could probably see
You'd probably see the fake head.
Yeah, fake head for like a split second. That's what I would guess, but it looked really good.
But it's just so funny because he had like the grenade in his mouth, almost like they have like the pig with like the apple. In his mouth. It looks kind of like it's like comedically like rammed in his mouth.
Yeah,
and he just like looks like dead in the camera, like uh-oh, and then just boom.
And they're playing what I can only assume is like the Taiwanese like national anthem.
Yeah, like the national anthem's going on.
Yeah.
And then that causes like a huge thing in the hospital, and the zombies bust in. And then I think the one of the other big gory moments is a woman who previously had her eyes, or one of her eyes, stabbed. Like, I guess gouged is a better word. With a really sharp umbrella, so she has like an eye hole there.
Yeah.
And one of the zombies comes, and she's stuck in a wheelchair, and he just rams his penis into that thing.
Oh god.
And you can tell that was for me, that was the point where I felt it was trying a bit too hard.
Yeah.
Especially because they didn't show anything.
Right. It kind of felt unnecessary.
Yeah. Like, he could have just killed her or, done... I mean, there's plenty of other... People died in plenty of depraved, messed up ways.
Right.
In this, that I felt like that was a bit pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? They gotta sell it somehow.
That's
true. Now everyone's gonna go, yeah, this woman got her eye fucked.
Yeah, I get that. I felt that same way. I felt when that scene happened, I was like, this feels unnecessary, but also shocking. So I'm fine with
it. It's very similar. Have you ever heard of like the August Underground trilogy?
No.
Really fucked up movies. But they are kind of what I would say the textbook definition of a real edgy guy trying to make the most fucked up movie ever.
Oh, okay.
Where it gets to like, I watched, I've only seen the third one, which I guess is like the most like depraved. And there were times where like I was exhausted, not from what I was seeing, but just kind of just this guy doing it. Because you're like in the director's mind, Oh,
like, I see.
Oh, wouldn't it be so fucked up if we cut this woman's fetus out of her?
Oh,
God. Shit like that. Like, you kind of get into his mindset.
Right.
And this was the moment for me where I was like, okay, it's fine. I wouldn't say eye hole fucking is fun, but it wasn't comedic like Serbian film. Serbian film does it comedically.
They did it comedically? What the fuck?
Because it's so absurd. It's like such an absurd situation that it's like funny, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so fucked up that you can't help but laugh. Like, what other, like, your brain doesn't know how to comprehend what it's seeing, so it's just like laughs.
Right.
That's kind of what it is.
Okay. It's just like so absurd that you have to laugh at it almost, even though what's happening is pretty horrible.
And it's funny because like the guy in the Serbian film, he's like hopped up. Basically, he's on like Viagra they give to elephants that they want to breed. That's essentially what he's hopped up on.
Okay.
And he also has like the biggest cock in the world. That's like his whole thing. He's like an ex-porn star because he had this huge cock.
Right.
So he's like, just imagine a man just super like hopped up, like on a ton of cocaine, just like, just fucking a man's head while he's alive. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like cutting back to seeing that, and then his face, just like his teeth showing, and he's like, just screaming.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We'll watch Serbian films sometime.
Will we?
Hey, that's up to you.
Is that one that's going to give me nightmares? I feel like it is.
I don't think Serbian film is as bad as people make it out to be. It's definitely fucked up. But I have seen far worse. It's more of like an absurdist comedy.
Mm-hmm.
A very, very dark comedy, I would say. Well, but before we get into spoilers of what the movie's about, what did you think of it?
I really liked it. This is definitely the best Shudder original that we've watched so far on this show, and the best Shudder original I think I've seen. So
I gotta make a list for you because there's some really good ones. Well, you gotta watch Uncut of the Dead.
Yeah, that's one I definitely will watch.
That's my favorite zombie movie, and that movie, I know you'll like it because I know both of us are very interested in like filmmaking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the shit they did to pull off that movie is insane.
Okay.
And I'm not even going to tell you why that movie's so unique because I don't want to spoil the magic for you. But you'll know what I'm talking about when your mind gets turned upside down. Because you've never seen a movie like it.
Oh, okay. This sounds awesome.
Yeah. Watch One Cut of the Dead. That's your homework.
I will. I should have time this weekend, so I will definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed this. For me, I felt while I think you're right, the plot is very simple, and I think zombie movies greatly benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt a bit disjointed for me. Like, I was way more interested in Kat, the girlfriend, than I was Jim, the boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes when I was seeing Jim and like Kat had way more interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, she did. She had that conflict with the guy in the subway and everything.
Yeah, she had like a personal like kind of thing going on with like an enemy. You have them in the train, her rescuing that woman, them running into that guy with hentai on his phone.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
through her you get to see like that government broadcast and all that.
Yeah.
And,
meanwhile, Jim is just running around in the forest.
yes. He just finds people that are just doing horrible things to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see like them cutting down on the Jim stuff for sure.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I was just more interested, I think, in what she was going on, so it felt just really disjointed when we went back to Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I didn't want them to get back together or anything. I was just like, okay, I just feel like the flow was more on Kat's side.
Right.
But I mean, the effects were good. This is one of the more original modern zombie films that I've seen. So that's always a plus. I mean, I just like any horror movies that are original.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, this is something that I know I really like in horror movies, and I think it's very off-putting for a lot of people, but how mean this movie is.
Yeah.
Like, how unforgiving and punishing it is. And, like, it's basically just, like, a mean-spirited Train to Busan.
Oh, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, a lot more pessimistic version of Train to Busan.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's not so much like, oh, you know, everyone's like in this time of need, you know, we need to come together to fight. It's like, no, when shit hits the fan, everyone is going to fucking rape and kill each other. You know? That's definitely the perspective I got from it. And there's no happy ending for anyone. And I'm usually a fan of those endings, so I was okay with that. But I know there's a lot of people that don't like that kind of stuff or aren't really comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I like mean things.
The more mean-spirited it is, the more interesting it can be.
Yeah.
I always find a lot of times I always like stuff where like or like there's like good characters, but they're like almost punished for doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that happens a lot in this movie. Every time they try to help someone, their situation just gets worse and worse.
yeah, yeah. Like the Jim character, he helps out so many different people, and the dude just gets infected. He gets his fingers like snipped off. Like
Yeah.
it goes
Yeah,
through
he
a
gets
lot of
the
shit.
shit beaten out of him. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's definitely, I think maybe kind of the take on how COVID has affected everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely, at least in my opinion, has probably split more people than brought people together.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the main takeaway from this.
Yeah. I think even one of the characters outright states how horribly politicized
Yeah, no, he does, yeah.
the Alvin virus has gotten. And I mean, it's clearly really talking about COVID and relating it to our real world. Yeah, I definitely felt like the infected people were like an allegory for like anti-maskers, anti-vaxxer type people.
Yeah.
Or like they just have no regard for like their like helping
Human life.
others.
Yeah,
they
very
just
selfish.
they just want to like fulfill their selfish desires.
Yeah.
And like I don't want to fucking wear a mask at Walmart for 10 minutes. It's like, really, you can't. But like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right. And you see, that's where I thought was an really interesting, where you have like a Western person making more of like an Eastern film. Because in the East, obviously, they have a very different mindset about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, considering that they've been wearing masks for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Like when
I
you're
was gonna
sick, you
say.
just wear it.
Mm-hmm.
So to them, when they're like, okay, there's like a mass virus going around, let's just, you know, mask up and, you know, be cool, they're cool. But not here.
Nope.
Not here.
Not at all.
We gotta fucking fight everything. We're fighters. That's what we do. That's our strongest
We're
trait.
just Americans. That's why
We're just
we like
Americans.
guns.
We have better freedoms than you do. We have more freedoms.
The freedom to not have freedom.
Yeah, I have the freedom for you to take my freedom away, and I'll fight back for my freedom. And I will kill many people to do so. Well, let's spoiler alert. Going ahead, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. Just a quick overview of kind of what it's all about. So we have our main characters, Jim and Kat, which I also thought was really funny when they said the guy's name was Jim. I thought maybe it was like for the sub. They were like, oh, let's just give him like an American name.
Oh, they like changed his name for
Yeah, but no, I guess it's just Jim. Well, probably
That's funny.
because I mean this guy wrote it in English, so he gave it, you know, a Western name. But yeah, they're in their apartment, you know, in the morning, he's making breakfast, she's getting ready for work. He has a chat with their neighbor, which I was really impressed by their apartment layout. I thought it was neat how their balconies are like kind of connected. And their front door is like in their balcony.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
That was interesting. Their apartment was a neat apartment.
Yeah,
I
it
wouldn't
was
mind
nice.
living there.
Yeah. But yeah, so he, you know, he's on his moped, he drives her to work, drops her off. I guess he's going to get breakfast at a friend's place, and then that's when the outbreak happens. And that's where we see the scene where the man gets frying oil dumped on his head and his face melts and turns all gooey.
Can I just say how creepy that old lady looks?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because like another thing is when the zombies, you know they're infected because their eyes are completely black.
Yeah.
And it's like this old lady, she's in like her like late night like muumuu or whatever old ladies wear, you know? And she's got like disgusting like finger and toenails.
Oh,
And like long kind of white like natty hair.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell it looks like there's like throw up or something on her clothes.
Yeah, it looks like she's been through some shit already.
It reminded me, there's this Korean ghost movie called, oh fuck, I'm gonna butcher the name. It's like Gojium Asylum. but if you look up that movie, there's a shot, and basically this girl gets possessed, and it like the camera kind of like fisheyes, and she gets like real close to it, and she's like her eyes get really big and they turn black like that, and it looked just like that old lady, and she's like making some noise. She's like, boop, 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 boop. It's really creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy.
But it reminded me of that. Yeah, so then like pretty much just this is like when boom, big outbreak happens and like everyone in the street is killing each other. And like every time like he thinks he's safe, it turns out like they're infected, and then everyone's chasing him on his bike. And he gets back to his apartment trying to call his girlfriend, and that's when the neighbor turns out he's infected. And he takes garden shears and cuts off poor Jim's fingers. And it's like his pointer and middle too, like very useful fingers. Oh, and he even says, because he cuts him off, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll finger your girl for you."
Oh God!
And I was like, "Ew!
Yeah,
don't do that." That was gross.
Oh,
yeah, but then Jim's able to get away, and we kind of see Kat's perspective, and she's on the train. And she's just like reading her book, and this creepy old man is like hitting. I don't even know. This is another thing where the old man, I don't think did anything wrong, but he was kind of being annoying.
Yeah,
he wasn't
do
really
anything wrong, but his reaction to her reaction was wrong.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because she's just reading, and he's like, "What are you reading?" She's like, "Oh, this book." And he's like, "Oh, cool, like, not a lot of people read on the train." She's like, "Yeah, well, I'm reading." And he's like, "Yeah, you seem like you're really focused on that book." And I'm like, I would be so pissed if someone said that to me.
Oh yeah, especially in like a train in a setting like a subway.
Yeah, just
like,
some stranger
where literally no one wants to talk to each other. They're all just like trying to go home or go to work.
Yeah, I see you're really focused on that thing. I'm gonna break your concentration and tell you how focused you are on that thing. Yeah, and then she kind of snaps at him. She's like, "Hey, I just want to read my book. Can you please like stop talking to me?" And he's like, "I think you're beautiful." He like confesses to her, and she's like, dude." So she like switches seats with a woman, and then the old guy just goes on like a rant about how like she's like a whore and all that, and like no one's nice anymore.
Women are like that.
Yeah, all women. He's like a 70-year-old incel.
Yeah, I was gonna say the incel umbrella guy. That's what I was gonna call him.
Yeah, he learned. His grandson taught him how to get Reddit on his phone. What's this r/incel? Women are evil. I've been saying that for 50 years.
It's a shame that place doesn't exist anymore. In the incel subreddit, that was always so funny just to go to every once in a while, just to see what's going on.
Good cringe in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then that's when the train outbreak happens. We talked about everyone stabbing each other. It is like chaos, and it's super gory. There's like a point where one guy gets stabbed like in the neck, and it's just like a fountain of blood, just everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when our other character we're introduced to, Molly, she seemed like mentally disabled a bit.
I don't know if that was intentional, or I got that vibe too from her.
Like, it's because like she was like on the train. It just didn't seem like she could function by herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she gets stabbed by that old man because he gets infected and stabs her eye out. And then they're able to get off the train and run. And as they're trying to run, some asshole sees them and like tries to close the gate to the subway. And they're able to slide under. And it's this kind of just like creepy, frumpy man who works, I guess, for like the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the government told him he needs to, close everything. And Molly just punches him in the face, which was awesome. And he's like, "Hey, I'm just doing my job." and they're able to get to the hospital, and that's when we see like the news report of the president getting his head exploded, and she's able to, our character Kat is able to get the phone from that other guy who has a big boobed anime woman as his background. And
Yeah.
he's a little shy about it.
It was funny because it wasn't even like, it didn't even show the anime woman's face. It was just like a close up of her boobs.
It was literally just her cleavage. Yeah. And so she's able to like call Jim, and Jim's like, oh, you're at the hospital. Okay, I'm on my way. Just like be safe. And then that's when the zombies find her, specifically that creepy old man. And that is when poor Molly gets her eye turned into soup.
Yeah.
With his penis.
When that was happening, by the way, I was hoping I was wrong. See, he took off her like eye bandage, and I was like, oh God, please don't. And he started unbuttoning his like pants. And I was like, oh no, please God, don't do it.
Yeah.
And he did it. They don't show anything, but you get the idea of what's happening.
It holds on him, though, pretty long enough to what he's doing.
Right, yeah.
And he even says later to Kat when he meets her again, he's like, I fucked her eye. And I was like, okay. Yeah. They really wanted you to know he fucked her eye. They were like, were we being a bit too vague on that? Oh. Yeah, but basically, Kat is able to run from him, and she eventually hides, and the old man is chasing her with an axe, and she's able to get like a fire extinguisher and spray him and knock him down, and she bashes his head in with a fire extinguisher. Which may be another reference to another depraved movie, Irreversible, where a man gets his face bashed in a very similar fashion with a fire extinguisher.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a reference to that, knowing this guy, probably. But yeah, and his face just turns into goop. There's just nothing left of it.
Yeah.
It's just a pile of the muck.
I was laughing when it showed that camera shot outside of and it showed those like two people over him.
Yeah.
And it was just like a giant like blood splatter where his head used to be.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh God, that guy is gone.
And then, yeah, it's like a secure door opens and a man in like a radiation suit pulls her inside, and he's got a gun, and he's like, attach yourself to this pipe. I need to make sure you're not infected. And he like disinfects her. And then he's all like, hey, I'm going to inject you with the virus to see if you're immune, because I think you're immune. And then we can get out of here with a helicopter and you can save the day. And she's not too happy about this plan, but he does it anyways. And then I knew, because he starts monologuing, right? Mm-hmm. About how he's like, I was right about the virus and no one listened. I'm like, okay, this is a villain.
Yeah.
I knew immediately. Once someone starts monologuing, they do not have good intentions.
And his facial expressions are kind of unhinged.
Uh-huh.
And like that's part of like, even when he's saying things that are kind of normal, you're like, okay, something's not right with this dude.
Yeah. Just undermined government employees are the most dangerous.
Apparently.
Yeah, so turns out she's not infected. Cool. But I guess they were in the maternity ward, and he knew, and this was his words, that they were going to come in and rape all the babies, so he had to kill them himself. And he does that. And I guess one of the babies was still alive, and there was an evil trash can baby that was infected, I guess.
This is another moment that I thought was like kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
Or I was like,
yeah, that whole bit was pushing it a bit.
Yeah, didn't you really need to like choke the baby out in the garbage can? It's like,
Yeah, and then later he's even like, I'll be honest, I liked choking all of them. Like, okay, dude.
You're a fucking freak.
But Yeah, so they go out and immediately they get jumped by zombies. And one part which was actually a pretty clever idea. They cut off like the front half of his foot. And one of the zombies takes like the stump of his foot and just pukes on it.
Oh yeah. That was disgusting, man. Holy shit.
Yeah. I could just imagine.
Ugh. And the puke is like so gross. It's like brown and yellow. It was the most disgusting throw up I've
real
ever seen.
Sludgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, fast way to get infected though.
Yes, instant infection.
Yeah. So I'm like, hey, that's pretty smart of that zombie. You know?
Yeah.
I can just imagine him like around the corner. They're like waiting, and he's like got like his finger like almost down his throat. He's like, "Is he coming? I'm ready. I'm ready." He's like cocking it basically.
I ate a shitload of Taco Bell an hour earlier. I'm ready to chug.
I'm ready to puke up all these acids. So basically then that infects that guy, and our girl kills him. But then Jim's here. Yay, Jim. All right, no, the guy didn't die yet because Jim shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim, it's clear he's infected. And the guy shoots him and then he gets him like in the neck.
Yeah.
But Jim's a trooper and goes and kills the guy. And Kat's able to run and she gets behind like this like barred door. And Jim is like trying to get in. And they do kind of like the moment where he's like, I missed you so much. I love you. And I want to cut your fucking tits off and skin you alive and fuck your corpse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when I realized I'm like, this is not a nice movie.
No,
like
it's not very mean spirited.
Very mean movie. Yeah, someone got bullied a bit too much. But yeah, and basically she just it's safe to assume that she gets to the helicopter, but we don't know what happens after that. Because after the door closes,
I thought that she died because she goes out there and you hear gunshots and screaming.
But you also hear the helicopter.
You do, but what I assumed was that they thought she was infected and they didn't know who she was because they didn't see the doctor.
You may be right. Because she does go up some stairs, and when she opens the door, it's nothing but this bright, blinding white light.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Hey, that's up to your imagination. I'm not as pessimistic like you.
No, I wanted her to get out, but I'm just being realistic. It definitely sounded like
in line with everything we've seen. Most likely, she was killed.
Yes, most likely she died, and I only say that too because like the guy dies with a smile on his face after saying that she wanted to like kill her basically in horrible ways.
Yeah.
So I was assuming he was hearing that, and he's like, "Hey, I can die happy now. I'm fulfilled." Because that was his character arc. He wanted to have a purpose in his life.
He wanted to have a purpose. He's like, I just want my girlfriend to get fucking killed.
Yes,
by the government.
That's literally what he says. Remember?
Yeah.
At the beginning, he's like, he doesn't have a job. I don't even think, and he's like,
no, he's just working like random gigs.
Yeah, and then at the end, when he's like, has the Alvin virus in him. He's like, I have a purpose in my life, and it's to kill you.
Yeah. He specifically says, I'm gonna cut off your tits.
Yeah, cut off your tits and like smash your face and skin you alive.
Skin you alive and then like fuck what's left.
Yeah.
Real horny
that was
movie.
Brutal. Super horny.
You know,
Horny
if it's
in
your
a bad
first date, you want to make it all the way, put on the sadness. It'll get the juices flowing.
That's true. Women, they do be loving violence.
There is that blood orgy scene.
That'll really get the women turned on.
Yeah. You want to see a man and two women just in each other covered in blood? And it was funny because that fat guy was like watching them out of the corner because he was trying to sneak past. I thought he was going to get so horny he was going to jump in.
That's what I was thinking too. I thought that even though he wasn't even infected, he would just want to do it.
Yeah, he's just like, okay, hang on here.
I could join in. Hell yeah.
Can I get one last load off before I'm torn alive?
Yes. Can you guys pretend like I'm not here and just let me kind of like get in there some way into some fold?
Can I just squeeze in? It's like, you know, on The Walking Dead, how they like cover themselves in like zombie blood to like blend in.
Oh, he does
It's
that.
like he strips naked and is like covering him, so he's like pulling like guts out of a corpse, just covering himself, and he just kind of like tiptoes in. He's like, "Oh, I'm a zombie.
Oh, watch out!
Whoa, watch out! My penis is gonna go in near that butt."
Oh man, I love to fucking kill too. Now let me fuck you.
Yeah, I want to bash your fucking skull in while I come. The only way I could come is if I'm taking another man's life. Am I right, guys? Suddenly, the orgy just all stops, and they just kind of look at him. It's like, right? Huh? So that's the sadness. Very, very vile and depraved. I would, you know what? As a connoisseur of depravity, this would get a stamp from me.
Mm-hmm.
This would go on a list of like depraved movies. It gets my seal of approval.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm usually not into stuff where like the point of it is to be like exploitative or like depraved.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this had a good enough mixture of like actually like an actual good script with like compelling and likable characters
With just
like,
hardcore horror.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that it had a nice balance of that most of the time. Like we said, there were a couple moments where I think it teetered too far in
Pushes
one
the
direction.
envelope.
Yeah. But like overall, I thought it was really solidly executed. Definitely the
Especially
best Shudder film I've seen.
Especially for a directorial debut.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see where he goes from here, especially with the bigger budget. It's like probably be some really good stuff coming out of this guy.
Yeah, I assume hopefully something just as hardcore as this too.
Yeah, I hope so. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. So that was the sadness. You can watch it on Shudder. I'm pretty sure it's exclusively on there. Shudder, we like your movies. I'm still waiting to hear from you. Please.
Please respond to our emails. We're desperate.
Please respond. I've sent 3. I'm like Stan.
These long emails where we talk about we just reviewed Slapface and like I really liked it. Okay, I like really did.
I really liked when he killed that rat.
Yeah.
I really liked in the sadness when that woman got her eye fucked. I can talk about that.
Yeah, I can talk about whatever you want me to talk about. Please just respond to me.
Please, Shuddy, please. Yeah. I included a semen sample in this letter.
Oh God!
Do with it what you will.
Please use it in one of your depraved movies, please, God.
Could you imagine an IMDb trivia for some movie like the semen in this film was actually used, real semen sent in by a fan.
Yeah.
They'll do that for the Chris Chan movie that comes out.
Are they doing that?
No, God, no.
Oh, okay.
But if they do,
a Chris Chan inspired horror film could work.
Ugh.
100% it could work.
I don't know who would even be the victims in that story because everyone is fucking awful. There's not a single good person in that entire arc.
Just even that one like little instance in Chris's life where his dad Bob Chandler would just be like sitting around just moaning in like pain. That could just be a short film in and of itself, a short horror film.
Yeah, it's just Just an autistic boy telling you what he's going to do on a date with you and how he's going to take you home after your date to McDonald's, where you can watch Family Guy, meet his mom, and then you can have unprotected sex in his room while his Transformers watch. Meanwhile, you hear his father getting eaten alive by bugs going, oh, oh.
Is it true? Okay, people have said in the community before that in one of Chris's videos you can hear Bob moaning in the background. Is that true?
No, that is the one I'm talking about. He's literally talking to his current gal pal, his current sweetheart, about what he's going to do on their first date.
Yeah.
And his first dates that are always the same. They're going to go to McDonald's. They're going to take her home. They're going to meet his parents, and they're going to watch Family Guy or South Park. She can go home if she wants, but if she wants to stay, they can make out in his bedroom and maybe do something more.
Oh no.
And then he's like describing this as Bob is moaning. And then like the final shot of that movie, after everyone's probably like fucking dead, it just pans on that plaque that's in the shed at the Chandler house, where it says
yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? That
I know
plaque?
what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Where it's just like
it's
he's like saying it was their inventor's like little
their
shed
inventor
or whatever.
workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like looking forward to the many inventions to come or something like that. Like Daddy's Little Helper.
Mm-hmm. That would be really sad.
I would cry. No, honestly, the real horror Chris Chan movie would be is just introducing people to Chris that don't know what it is. That's the real horror.
The whole movie. It's like the Ring.
Yeah.
It's like a VHS tape you show people.
Yeah, it's like you have this forbidden knowledge now. No, I give it 5 years. Netflix will have a docuseries on him.
I don't know about that, but I legitimately think you could do a really solid like movie that is not like directly cataloging his life, but like inspired by, or like all the characters are different, and you could like change some things around and like to make it more dramatic. Like
Sonic Boom did that.
With the Sonic franchise?
No, Sonic Boom did that. They've literally put a character that is just like Chris in there.
Really?
Yeah. He's like in... Oh, no, he's not an aardvark. Is he an aardvark? But he's basically this kind of chubby dude, glasses, striped shirt. I think he has a medallion, and he's obsessed with Sonic. Oh, and he even has a line about his arms being blue.
Jesus. So it literally is Christian.
It is literally him, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I'm ending this since we're talking about Chris now.
Yeah, we could probably go on for another hour.
We need to have, I'm telling you, we just make a Patreon where we just talk about Chris Chan and Morbius.
The Morbius review. That'll happen eventually.
Our Morbius review.
Once it's out on digital.
It's 8 hours long. It's like, you know those like very obscure like video essays you see on like that one guy that made like an 8-hour like documentary on like why Tori from Victorious is the villain. But it's just our Morbius review. And it's 8 hours long.
And it's just us talking about how great it is the whole time.
Yeah, we don't have a single flaw to say. And it's actually us. We actually go on r/film and we look at people talking bad about Morbius and we respond to their criticism live. And well, we don't give any like facts. We just call them fucking stupid. We're like, you are wrong and an idiot. Like all Reddit arguments are settled. So you're laughing, but it's gonna happen.
I know.
I'm worried if we ever do something like that, no one like that's gonna be like the first video of ours they see and they think we're serious.
Oh, about Morbius?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be fine. I feel like we could do it as a parody. People will figure that
There are
out.
worse things to be known for,
That is very true.
you know?
That one guy who made that Miles Morales review, where he's
Yeah.
like, what did he say?
The
Something?
youth of a young black teen or something like that.
Yeah,
No, the swagger.
yeah, the swagger of a young black teen.
Youth.
Yeah, I was like, oh god.
I got it now. The exaggerated swagger of a black youth. Yeah. Pretty much I can be called anything, but as long as you don't call me an IGN reviewer, I'm happy. All right. Well, that was Sadness. We recommend it. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.